65 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Okay, life advice is lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. All right, let's check out a dating one here. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. U.S. looking like they're going to be in the World Cup, so things are on the up.
Yeah, we need to do a going abroad with you, and then maybe we'll have Kevin on to promote the F1 pod, because we probably would have had him on at this point, but he's got his own F1 pod going, so I'm fired up for them. All right, here we go. Dating a girl, not sure where it's going. 5'10", 175, 30, could hoop a little in high school. Great.
Nice.
So a few years back, I was set up on a few weeks back, I was set up on a blind date by a family friend, got the girl's number from the friend, texted her, got to know her a little, as much as you can a stranger over text, and set up a date a few days later. First date went well, better than I expected, spent a few hours together, had some chemistry, immediately set up another date for a few days later, which is where the first issue comes about. She lives well over an hour away from me. Don't have to mention this on air. Okay. So yeah. All right. He's telling me where they live. Got it. It seemed a little far, bordering on long distance, but the first date went so well, I figured it was worth exploring. That was less than 48 hours between the dates, so we didn't text much before the second date. I drove her to place the second date, which took almost 2 hours for this drive. Right. If they hit that drive at the wrong time, it's not LA, but it would be bad. It went well because I did that drive once. Not as good as the first, but I still liked her and liked where it was going. The obvious choice for the third date was for her to come to where I live, but we had some scheduling issues, so we said we could circle back on a time and place. I texted her the next day for some ideas for times and then proceeded to not hear from her for almost 2 days. I assumed, as anyone would, that I'd just been ghosted. Not a big deal. It happens. But then she finally responded, and we set up a third date. I tried to get some conversation going, but again, radio silence from her until we actually had the third date. We had the third date, and it went well again. This is great. It's like roller coaster of emotions here. We seem to get along, and she seems like a very dateable girl, etc. I'm just starting to find it hard to get excited about setting things up with her. We literally do not talk unless we were on a date or setting up a date. Again, I feel like we get along well, but she lives at least an hour and a half away, and it feels like someone I'm dating, and it feels less like someone I'm dating and just someone I see once in a while. My friends think I'm being too harsh and too picky, that she's just not a big texter, but it's gotten to a point where the girl basically disappears between times we hang out. I would think she's just not interested, but she keeps saying yes and seems excited when I do hear from her. I don't think this would be a big issue if she lived close by, but the distance thing kind of worsens it. We can't just pop in to see each other or grab happy hour, etc. I just want to know, am I wrong to think something is a little off? You think it will get better the more we get to know each other, and should I just keep at it? Any advice would be great. Well, my first question is, if it doesn't work out, she sounds perfect, man. You kidding? This is amazing. She doesn't text you all the time. She doesn't want to hang out constantly.
That was my first thought.
You got an hour and a half buffer too on a Friday.
No, that's cool. Like later on. Now at the early onset part, like you want to be excited, like you want her to reciprocate the excitement. Like if you're dating for 2 years and she lets you play Xbox and play FIFA for like 3 hours a night, then that's great. But like early on, that's a red flag to me.
Ryan, is this like dating in the early 90s? Like, I mean, unless you're talking on a landline, what are you going to do? Isn't this
dudes had to wait around?
Isn't that sort of just like it? You see her when you see her, and we set stuff up. Like, you're not like, so what are you doing? How's lunch? Like, I love what comes up, right? I mean, we talk about the important shit.
Yeah, well, you probably would if you cared about the person. You'd go get the long cord. You'd go to another room.
Really, put your feet on the wall.
Talk. Yeah, and you just talk for like an hour and a half. You're like, I don't know, we just talk, man. We just talk the whole time. When I was dating in the 90s, though, I was in college for a good chunk of it, and then I was still sort of in college. So college dating is not.
Yeah, it's
a great line. Is it Swingers where he's like, "How did you meet her?" And he's like, "Well, we were in college. You're just drunk all the time." Like, what are you talking about?
Fair, yeah.
So, and then people did get cordless phones, so I don't want to date myself too much here. All right. Well, look, the first thing I would do was not call her out on the texting thing. I would just sort of ride this one out. You seem to like her. You seem to get along. She just might not be a big texter. And I can tell you there was one time in my life where I called somebody, I feel like an absolute loser, and Trudy's just going to laugh and be like, wait, you asked somebody else about not texting you back? But there was one girl who I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, she never, and she was younger than me. And I told my friends, I was like, she doesn't text back. She doesn't text back. She would go days and not text. And they were like, wait, how old is she? And she doesn't. They were like, oh, does she live with a boyfriend or something? I was like, no, that's not the case. I'm like, we get along really well. We haven't seen each other. This was an incredibly, incredibly short window, by the way. And I said something. I was like, hey, am I like, do you just not like texting? Just let me know. And then I got it. And then it kind of, then it led to something else that ended up being another conversation where I had heard through a third party that I was called clingy, which may be the worst possible scouting report ever imaginable on your boy, that anybody would ever think that I'd be clingy. But I was so thrown off this one time. I could tell you, I could recite day to day, like, wait, what the fuck is going on here? So I would caution anyone that's going through this to bring it up to the other person, because nobody, like, whoever doesn't like texting is also not going to love being told, like, hey, you don't really text me back. All right. Because I've also heard that plenty of times on the other side. So since you like her, and I think she's kind of telling you what her expectations are of this, I would just lower your own expectations. Now, if the drive and the no texting thing bothers you, move on. If this were Los Angeles, like, seriously, no one here will date anyone else like 3 towns or more away. Like, it's you either date in Hollywood, you date in the South Bay, you date in Santa Monica. Like, it doesn't. People, I'm not saying no one does it, but it was very clear early on where people were like, yeah, you either meet somebody in your little thing or everybody just breaks up because you're like, I'm not fucking driving all the way there. You're like, wait, Calabasas? Like, I don't care who you are. That's not happening. Fucking car dealership. So I think what you've been told here is, despite liking this person, to adjust your own expectations to it. I wouldn't. And then if it just wears on you, then you can call it off. But don't turn it into something that it isn't. Like, there's also, I think for guys too, there can be a real like wake up call to the ego a little bit, where, the guy can always kind of like, whoever has the upper hand. I don't know what the ratio breaks down to, male, female here, upper hand, but every relationship is different. But I remember there was another time too where I was talking to somebody and then she was like, well, I'm a serial dater. And I was like, ugh. But she was telling me, basically, like, if I'm out of pocket every now and then, like if I don't return it, it's probably because I'm out on a date, because I just love going out on dates all the time. I just date and dinners and meet guys. I'm like, you just go to a dinner with somebody you don't even know and you'll go to another one. You're like, oh, I just love going on dates and meeting people and networking or whatever. I'm like, well, that's not really networking. That's no. And it's like, well, does he know it's networking? So I was kind of like, this is fucking lame.
Right, is he using his company card on this when he picks up the check? What the hell's going on here? Is he writing this up?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Met her on LinkedIn.
It's also crazy that they're single. My goodness.
Expensive. So unless she's dating all the time or whatever, maybe you don't like her having the upper hand. Clearly she does. I would just, again, the lesson of this would be to adjust your expectations of what the relationship is without expressing any of these things to her. Ride it out for a little bit, see where it goes. And you're probably going to ask yourself some real honest questions to try to be honest with yourself. Like, does it feel like this is somebody that's a little above your pay grade? Because probably is if you're driving an hour and a half and 2 hours every single time. And by the way, if a friend set you up, can't you ask the friend, do a little recon here? Be like, what's the deal? Because there's also the other part of it. Could she be seeing somebody else? And that's why the texting, and that's why the long distance. So now that I've totally fucked with you.
Look what we've done here. Great job.
Enjoy.
Great job with that. I think this is great. I think your advice is great, but I also think this is a great life advice. It's like, the stakes are low. It can, some people can tell you're overreacting, but you're right. It feels weird. I get it. So this is a perfect down the middle life advice question, and nobody's going to get hurt from anything we say. But I think absolutely lower your expectations, and you might even be surprised when you lower your expectations. Maybe you'll just be crazy and just call her one time. What if you just called her? I don't know. Once you lower
FaceTimer
once you're
in the morning.
I wouldn't FaceTime her. I don't think I would FaceTime her. I think definitely girls sometimes the impromptu FaceTime. It's like, no, never. Maybe, but maybe she's not a texter. Maybe she's a caller. I'm actually a caller. I'd rather be called than be in a battle that goes back and forth over text about something that maybe is totally nothing. It's like, we'll get it all out now. We'll get it all out now. Don't.
You're a small talk guy. I can't.
No,
see,
it's
I
not
can't see
small
you
talk.
being a small talk.
No,
guy.
it's not small talk, but it's like, what the hell's going on? Like, what? How are you? Like, I'd rather call my friends than text my friends. I think they are probably all in the other camp, and I've been bothering them for years about it. But I'm still gonna call you. What can you do? But maybe she's just not a texter. And like you said, there's probably not a good way to find that out. You can be like, hey, are you just like not a texter or something? Because then, my God, shot through the heart. Russillo's
Some people are
clingy,
just not
like,
texters,
God.
even though this guy's saying, hey, do you want to go somewhere? And he's throwing out options and plans. And to not have any answer for that 2 days is annoying. But that tells you she's just not a texter if she keeps wanting to see you, or you're just her side piece.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I think. I think only good things could come from lowering your expectations. I think you're right.
We should all be doing it.
We should all be doing it. Yeah.
Cerruti, you seem to have a little bit more on there.
No, I just don't. I'm annoyed for him because in the early stages of this kind of thing, even if you're a bad texter, I feel like bad texters still text because they're interested in the person. They just want to seem cool and they want to chat and they want to be flirtatious or whatever. So the fact that he's getting none of that, like, I understand his frustration. And to me, I don't know, do you joke with her and be like, hey, what's the deal here? Am I actually the guy on the side? Like, maybe you mess around with her that way. And like, no, I don't think that, make sure it's 100% a joke. Because then, I don't know, like, what's she gonna, maybe, I don't know, maybe you are, maybe you find out, or maybe she's just like, yeah, sorry, I've been dropping the ball, I've been really busy at work. Maybe there is actually an excuse for it, but I don't like the way it started, and is it going to get any better because you're the one that's driving an hour, 2 hours to wherever the hell this place is? I just don't know what enjoyment you're getting out of this, because it's more than just meeting up with her once, a week and driving 2 hours.
I love that we've sort of untapped this part of Cerruti that's just romantic in the beginning, and you're like, this is before we start fighting and find annoying things.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, what's your deal anyway, man?
Yeah.
I just believe in love, dude. I don't. I just.
Hey,
we're just.
There you go. We don't need to say anything else. That'd be another new T-shirt for the line. I just believe in love, dude. Okay, we're gonna try one that's a little bit more. This is going to be a little bit more emotional. I don't know. Don't worry about the headline is tough. Kyle sent it along, but I think I've read it. We'll get through it. We'll be fine. Adopt a dog or let him die. Okay. Big fan of the show, 59170. Change names here. So the dog my sister adopted is freaking adorable. He's great when he wants to play, actually wants to be petted and touched. He can be a really sweet dog and will play fetch with his toys. However, the issue is he can have moments of madness and grumpiness where he bites you if he doesn't want to be touched. This usually occurs at night when he's tired and wants to sleep. However, he can growl and show teeth at other times if he's napping midday, for example. He hasn't bitten any strangers or friends, as my family is good about warning others who want to pet him around the nighttime or the dog's nap times. He's bit my mom, dad, sister, and cousin. However, that was primarily when my sister had just adopted him and the dog was still getting to know us. I haven't been bitten yet because my parents told me, and whenever I visited my parents' place and the dog is around, I generally avoid petting him at all. If the dog is close to getting ready to bite you, he can show his teeth at you and start to growl. For background, the dog was abused by the previous owners and had his voice box removed, so he can't even bark. When he barks, it's just a whimper. The dog has had a really tough life. Okay. My sister has a tendency to dump the dog over at my parents when she travels most weekend. So she's gone most weekends. Cool. And she adopted a fucking dog. This is what I can't stand about some dog people. I can't fucking stand it when you do this. When people say, like, hey, you by yourself, you should get a dog. I'm like, actually, I'm selfless. I won't do that to the dog because I'm not going to be around a ton. Like, you people that think you're just going to, like, oh, I'm bummed out, let me fucking get a dog, and then I'm never going to be around to take care of the thing. It's so shitty. But I guess then you would argue, hey, if the dog was going to be put down, it's better than that by not being around. So I don't want to get into that huge debate because it's not a debate whatsoever. All right, so keep it moving here. During the most recent weekend getaway, my cousin was asked by my sister to take care of him, who hadn't taken care of him before. Lo and behold, cousin was bitten when trying to take him for a nighttime pee. Fast forward to now, and my sister is pretty dead set on putting him down because of his numerous biting episodes and the fear it could be a stranger who would sue her for being bitten at some point. I had warned her before adopting she shouldn't adopt a dog as she likes to travel and could barely take care of herself, let alone a new adopted dog. I tried arguing with her to find a muzzle, not ideal, that would protect others in certain scenarios, like at night when the dog is grumpy and does not like to be touched. My sister claims that she can't find any muzzles that will fit him as if he's a smaller, right, because he's a smaller dog.
We already know what this is about.
Right. My main dilemma is, should I try and ask my parents to adopt him so the dog isn't put down? or should I just man up, prepare to be bit a few more times and adopt him myself? My condo where I live would charge $200 extra per month, and it isn't the best for me. My sister tried looking into giving the dog up for adoption, but she claims she can't legally, as apparently the dog's had too many biting incidents, which are severe, puncture holes, draws blood. My sister can't give him back to the adoption center, the dog, because he's had too many of these problems. I hate the idea of putting down an innocent animal because of my sister's negligence and unwillingness to care for him, but also don't want the burden back on my parents who've been empty nesters for a number of years now. My parents love to travel and leave the city, country as much as they can. Taking care of the dog isn't fair on their schedule. What should I do? Are there any suggestions, or am I missing that I'm missing, or is it pretty much down to my parents or me to adopt the dog? They attached a photo. If you think I'm going to tell you to put a dog down on this show, then
you got another thing coming, pal.
Right.
You're just like, I don't know, easy solution.
Yeah,
man. She sounds like she sucks, first and foremost.
Yeah, we could talk about the sister
that's my
more.
Only takeaway.
I don't know what to do. I mean, I lived with somebody who had 2 dogs, and as soon as I would turn around, they'd bite me. It was just no. Like, I wasn't in the mix enough, and they're just going to bite me. And it sucked. So you'd have to, like, backpedal facing them. But there is time if you are around them more and more, no matter the dog. But like you said, I don't know, man. Do you think I'm going to tell anybody to put a dog down on the fucking show? I'm not doing that. So,
what about like
you
dog,
got a dog
sanctuary?
Right, dog sanctuary,
like a farm? I don't know who runs a farm just so dogs can have the best time
what
of
is
their
that
lives.
like?
But I think they're
when the dad takes the pet and family pet for a drive and doesn't come back.
I don't know. I don't know. We had a dog Stoner, and he was like biting.
Wait, what?
My mom's dog named. Sorry, my mom had a dog named Stoner, and apparently he was awesome, but he would like bite people and crash into things, and like I don't know, he was crazy, and I guess that's why they call him Stoner. He was a rescue, and I was told he went to live with somebody. Who's got like a lot of land on a farm. I don't know. There's like no people to be involved with really. It was just like a farm. That might be code for like we flush your goldfish down the toilet, but I don't think so. Who knows?
Wait, so you're still not sure at your age now whether or not your family dog was just donated to the farm? Quotes?
The farm. Oh God. Now that we're
live out his days.
Now that we're talking about it, doesn't sound as good as it was in my head about 5 minutes ago and for the last 20 years. But I guess whatever, man. lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. Shit.
Wow.
I don't mean to be laughing. Like, wait, did Kyle just discover a
memory
childhood
unlocked?
Lie?
Jesus Christ.
All right. I don't think we have much else to offer.
Hold on. Don't you think there are dog sanctuaries? Sometimes you see like, and maybe that's just for Instagram assholes, and they're like, "Look at I live with 20 dogs." Like, but I don't know. Isn't it possible? It's like somebody who's got the land. Maybe it's family plot. I don't know. But like, isn't there a sanctuary? There's like rabbit sanctuaries around there. Trust me, I've looked them up. So like, I know that there are sanctuaries for all sorts of things.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't know what the likelihood of finding one is that would work in this situation. I also think that this seems like it's just an excuse for her who she didn't have the capacity to take care of this dog. And that even the excuses about like not returning it to a shelter because it had too many biting incidents. Are there like formal complaints? What did your because I think the dog only bit her family, right? So did they write formal complaints that would be on this dog's permanent record? I think that's total bullshit. To me, she just doesn't want the dog and she's trying to make up excuses for you guys to adopt this dog. And I'm not going to tell you to if you don't have the means to do so. But I at the end of the day, like she just, I don't know. This is a bummer situation because she just seems like she sucks.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know anything about this. Like dogs have records, criminal records.
Just go to one that doesn't have the record. Say you don't know. Say you found the dog.
Judy says two record incidents and you're done. So
yeah. Usually it's two bites and they the state puts you down. But I have a small dog. We have 2 dogs. One of them's a dachshund. The dachshund is a little more snippy. He came from Arkansas. He's a rescue. We have no idea what his background is. We had to get some teeth removed because he has some dental issues. He has like a weird throat thing. We don't really know his background, and he's a little bit snippy. He'll
sounds like a blast.
He's protective, but he's actually pretty great. If you just throw him under a blanket, here's the throw the dog under a blanket.
Just take away his senses. He's fine.
Yeah, it's like blinders for like one of those birds of prey. That's what you got to do when people come over, and honestly, that actually does help. I'm not even joking. So I'm not saying it's like a cure all for everything if you want to adopt this dog and you're worried about it, but that is something you could do.
Mom's here. Get the blanket.
We have to put our dog in a cloth satchel.
Yeah.
You should come over and check them out.
Feel the presence. Don't actually see anything. There you go.
Lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. We'll talk to you Thursday.